We actually have a little bit of a crossover here for this review, and this was the elephant in the room when I had to schedule these reviews, because we have the first documentary to get nominated for both Best Documentary Feature and Best International Feature in the same year. There have been some international documentaries only been nominated for Best Documentary or Best International, but let alone both, and it comes from North Macedonia. In terms of the country's history, in the international side, only one film got nominated before this, and it was their first film they submitted, which was 1994's Before the Rain. When this movie was on both shortlists, I thought it was only going to get one of them, and not both. So if you saw my nominations predictions, I was only predicting it for Best International Feature. On nominations day, it ended up nominated for Best Documentary Feature first, and I thought, well, I got that wrong. But instead, it got both. This film, which not also made history in the Academy, but also won the World Cinema Grand Jury Prize documentary at the Sundance Film Festival. If you love honey, then be ready, no pun intended, for Neon's documentary, Honeyland. Directed by Tarma Kostevsky and Lujom Stefana, it's about the life of a wild beekeeper, Hadias Mortova, who lives in a desert village with her bedridden mother, and her job is, of course, to collect the bees' honey and sell markets across the country. One day, a rancher and his family moves into the village with their animals across from her. They seem to get along with each other at first, but the rancher decides to take the idea of what she does, but makes it more powerful with a dealer to give him lots of honey by stealing Hadia's bees for a profit, which not also that makes her not happy about this, but they also suck at protecting bees. When I heard of this, I thought this was going to be a very light-hearted movie of a great place that makes honey. The movie does have a heart, but the honey is not really the main focus, and it describes it best why I love this movie. This is all because of our main woman we follow, Hedias, who is not also a great individual woman, but also a perfect daughter to spend her last times with her mother. But then you also got her job, which I'm surprised she's so professional with bees, especially in the middle of nowhere. You can tell she's having a great time. Then the rancher named Sam comes along. He is a real douchebag to her. At first glance, he really accepted her, but the fact that she decides to rip her off on what she does, I really feel bad for her. Especially he's very aggressive rancher, not just abusing their animals, but also not having a great relationship with his wife and kids, especially one of his sons that admires Hadias so much. Any of those two scenes she does with one of Sam's kids seems like a great mother figure from a kid who's that happy, and the fact that his dad doesn't like her, oh boy, you don't know how Sam is going to treat Hadias so badly in the third act. This is more intense than the third act of Les Misérables, I would say. The heart has the biggest impact of the feature, all because of the woman we follow in this real story. The way she talks, when she smiles, when she's angry, or even feeling sad, we do have a great connection to her. This is why how well the direction was during the time they filmed this. Not also on herself, but the rough times with the rancher and his family as well, like being stung by bees, and even one of the kids had to help a cow to give birth. And I mean that seriously. That actually is in the film. It felt like somewhat disgusted with that, but then again, we do see a lot of dead calves and bees in the movie, so what gives? The movie is also very well shot, which I'm very curious if any of the crew members got stung or not, and the editing is well paced perfectly to tell the story. As I've stated earlier, Hedias is the main reason why we have the heart. If it wasn't for her and her personality, this movie would have been not good at all, but it doesn't let this movie down without her. And I might apologize if I'm mispronouncing her name. As we've seen, Honeyland is a fantastic film of a story of a real beekeeper who has a great heart gets thrown away from her. On how well this movie was directed to its fantastic pacing and great personalities with the ones you loved and hate, this documentary makes you relax and feel for the people you're watching. I say that this is a film you need to see. Even if you're not a fan of documentaries, let alone not in the English language, do so. You will have time that would not be wasted, and I can see why it ended up with that double nomination, because it's great. But now this mini crossover comes to an end. As for the documentaries, we leave North Macedonia and head down south back to Syria with our next Syrian Civil War documentary. And for the international side, we go from North Macedonia to the southwest with the film that has a recognizable director with the star getting a Best Actor nomination in Spain.